Hello guys, you're welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to cut and sew this beautiful top you are watching on the screen right now. I'll be showing you step by step on how I cut it. So if this is what you are looking for, then you can join me in this tutorial. For this tutorial, I'll be using my waddy, I'll be using my paper stay, it's also called BF, and I'll be making use of my brown paper as well. You can use any paper of your choice. That is that about that. Then I'll be making use of this this lining. I'll be making use of this lining to line the dress. Then for the skirt part of the dress, I'll be using this V-net for the skirt part of the dress. That is for the skirt. I'll be using this V-net. This V-net, yes, this is original V-net. This original one, and this is what I'll be using. So, and for the fabric that I'll be using for this dress, I'll be using this Ankara fabric. So without wasting much of our time, let's get into the tutorial right now. So for this tutorial, like I said earlier, that I'll be making use of my brown paper. Here's my brown paper. This is my brown paper, and don't forget that we are making top this time around. So first thing I'm going to do is to fold my paper into two. You're going to fold your paper into two, just the way you see me doing. Fold your paper into two. How do you know how much paper you are going to fold? It's very simple. You can just measure your bust measurement plus 6 inch on fold or plus 4 inch on fold. For the front body, you can use 4 inch on fold as extra, and for the back body you can use 5 or 6 inch on fold. So here now, the length I'm working with is the length of 22. The person top length is 22, and based on what we are making, the folding here is not enough, so I'm going to add little bit to the length of the top. So I'm going to cut extra. I'm going to go ahead and cut extra paper to add to the down part of the top. So but before that, I'm going to measure 3 inch at this area. I'm going to measure 3 inch at this area. So after marking this 3 inch, I'm going to go ahead and mark it out. So I'm going to be making use of my marker to mark 3 inch out, just the way you see me doing. Can you see that? This 3 inch, that is where we are going to start all our measurements. We are starting all our measurements from this 3 inch. Don't touch the 3 inch, just leave it there. So after removing the 3 inch, I have 21. So the length is not enough for my top length, because I'll be making use of 22 for my top length. So I'm going to add extra to the down parts. So let me just cut the paper. Let me cut the extra on the fold on the paper, so that I can add to the length measurement. And at the same time, this folding here is too much. The folding I fold is too much, so I want to reduce the fold. Yes, I want to reduce the fold. It's more than what I said, that you should measure your bust measurement plus 4 or 5 inch. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Then I'll just measure it, just to know that it's okay. What I fold is okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. So after cutting it out, I'm going to add it to the length measurement. I hope you are getting it. So I'm going to add it to the length measurement, so that the length will be enough for what I want to do. So if I fold it like this, it's not going to work. So I just feel like, okay, then I refold it this way, just to give me what I want. So I'm going to go ahead now and use my tape just to tape it down. So I'm going to tape it down right now. So this is it. So I already used my tape to tape it down. So I'm going to go ahead now and measure my top length, which is 22. Can you see that? So I just measure out my top length at this area. So after you are done measuring your top length, when you determine the length you want to use for your top, the next thing you are going to do is to measure out your half length, your bust point, your nipple to nipple. If you don't know how to take all these measurements, I have it on the page. You can just check it there. How to take your measurement step by step is there. So I just mark out the person half length, on the bust, our bust point, then our chest line. So these are the lines that I need for this tutorial: the chest line, the bust point, the under bust, the half length. So I'm going to go ahead now and mark all this line. I'm going to mark it out step by step. So when you are making your own, just make sure that you mark all the necessary lines that needs to be lined, that needs to be marked out. Mark it out so that it will make your work so easy for you, so that you will not be confused. I believe you understand what I'm saying. So, and after you are done marking all this line out, make sure that you label them. Label them one after the other, just as guide, so that it will guide you. So this is the chest line. This is the bust point. So I'm going to use BP for the bust point. And this is the under bust. This is the half length. And this is the full length. We have the full length here. So this is all what we need as guide for our tutorial. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to start taking all the necessary measurements. So the first measurement I'm going to take is the shoulder measurement. What is the shoulder measurement I'm working with today? I'm working with the shoulder measurement of 14. So 14 divided by 2 will give me 7 plus half inch. 14 divided by 2 will give me 7 plus half inch. That will give me 7.5. Then if you look very well, you will see that my 7.5 fall on this area. So I'll just use my chest line for that. I'm not going to touch that. So I'll go ahead to the chest line and measure 7.5. Then I'm going to connect these lines together. I'm going to go ahead now and connect this line together. So that is for the armhole circumference. So the next thing we are going to measure now is the person nipple to nipple. Nipple to nipple is from one nipple to the other nipple. So in this sense now, this person nipple to nipple is 7.5. Then I added half of an inch to it. So I'm marking out 8 1/4. Because when you do 7.5 plus half of an inch, it will give you 8 1/4. So you are going to measure it to the full length. Then you are going to go ahead and mark it straight down. Oh yeah, my lord. So you're going to mark it straight down. Can you see? Just the way you see me doing. So after you are done with this, the next thing you are going to do now, from this side, from the half length area, I'm going to go ahead and mark 1 inch. Then I'll repeat the same thing at this side as well. At the under bust area, I'm going to repeat the same thing. At the half length and under bust, you are going to connect the lines just like you are doing your normal. No, this is just a normal princess something. The only difference is the fact that this one is top. So I would like you to pay very close attention to this tutorial in details. Then here is my French cuff. So you're going to use your French cuff to connect from the under bust to the bust point. If you don't have French cuff, you don't need to panic. You can just make you do with your normal hand. You can just use your hand to do this. Here you get. But if you have French cuff, then you can go ahead and just do the same way you see me doing. Can you see that? So you are going to come to this side as well. You are going to repeat the same thing. Can you see that? So we are almost done. Oh, it's very simple, just like very, very simple. So at this down part here, this is how you are going to go about it, just the way you see me doing. That's how you are going to do the down part. Can you see that? So now back to the armhole side. Now see, let me tell you something about this armhole side. This method I always use. This method is the best method. The reason why is that this method is so simple. You understand? This method is so simple. What you are going to do is that from your shoulder line, from here, from the place that I'm touching, come down with 5.5. Come down with 5.5. If not that I use the chest line as my armhole circumference, I would have come down with 6 inch. So just little difference of that half inch. Half inch, you know, my shoulder, my armhole circumference supposed to be 7.5, but I use 8. That's why I come down with 5.5. So this is it. Then I come inward with with 1 inch. Then I'm just going to connect from my bust point. You are going to connect it just the way you see me doing. Can you see that? Let me explain this place again. I come down from the shoulder line. I come down with 5.5. Then I go in with 1 inch. So my normal shoulder armhole circumference. So I'm going to use this one now as my new armhole circumference. Then I will do my normal armhole circumference before, the one I supposed to do earlier. I'm going to do it now. This is the normal one I supposed to do before, so I just do that one. Now another thing you will need to do, because you need to remove something from here so that by the time you wear your top, it will lay very well on your body. So can you see? So I just come from here. I'm going to mark 1 inch upward, not downward. Then I'm going to do another this thing here. Can you see that? Just do another one here. So this one now, I'm going to cut it out. I don't need it. I don't need this particular one here. Then after you are done with this place, the next thing you are going to do is to take out your body measurements. We are going to take our body measurement. But before that, let me cut this excess here so that it won't convince us. So can you see that? So the next thing I'm going to do now is to start taking my body measurements. So I'm going to take my bust measurements, 36 divided by 4 rather, plus 2 inch sewing allowance. At this area, let me just add half inch for that at that point, because we don't remove anything. Then at the waistline, I'm going to measure my waist measurement depending on what you are making. Measure the person waist measurement plus your 2 inch sewing allowance, and you are going to return this 2 inch at this half length and on the bust area. Then for the down part, you are going to be using your hip measurement divided by 4, your hip circumference divided by 4 plus 4 inch. Your hip circumference divided by 4 plus 4 inch. That is what I use for the down part of the top. Use your, let me say it again, use your hip measurement divided by 4 plus 4 inch for that down part, but all the other measurement is plus 2 inch sewing allowance. So I just connect the chest line and the half length together. Then for the full length, you are going to use your French cuff, because this place must be cuffy like this. So you are going to use the cuff part of the French cuff. Can you see that? Now another very important something that you need to do when you are making this top is that if you notice the top, you know that the top come down a little bit. It's not my normal kind of top, so I'm going to add 2 inch downward. You know I used 22 before, so I'm going to add 2 inch downward. Then at this part here, at this point here, I'm going to go in with 2.5 at that point here. So you are going to connect from this place that we marked 2 back to the place, this place. Can you see? You know, we come up with 2.5. Don't forget to. So this, we are going to cut this place out now. When we are cutting it, we are going to cut all this place. We don't need them. We don't need them. So now, but the neckline, because I believe that the neckline is very, very important in this tutorial, which is our built up neckline. This built up neck is very simple. Just pay attention to everything I'll be saying in details. For the neckline, I use 3. For the wideness of the neckline, I use 3 inch. For the wideness of the neckline, I use 3 inch. Then I'm going to come down for the shoulder slope. I'll come down with 1 inch. I'll come down with 1 inch. Just watch how I'm going to be doing it. Now, from this place that I marked 3 inch for my neckline, come up with 1.5 inch. Take your ruler and roll it straight up. Can you see that? Now, after you are done with that, the next thing you are going to do is to come in with 1/2 inch at this area. Come in with 1/2 inch here. Can you see that? At this point, come in with 1/2 inch. At this point that I'm touching now, this place I go in with 1/2 inch. Here, come in with 1/2 inch. I am using the same thing, 1/2 inch on both sides. Then use your French curve to connect this. Just watch how I'm going to use the French curve for, so that by the time you want to do your own, you will not do it the other way round. So I'm just going to connect it like this, like shown, because that place must not be straight. It must be a little bit curvy, kind of. I hope you are getting it. So the next thing I'm going to do now is that for the depth of the neckline, I'm going to be using the chest line. If you don't want your own neck to be too wide, you can come up a little bit. If you don't want your neckline to be too wide, you can come up a little bit. So the next thing I'm going to do now, we are almost done. We are almost done because it's very simple. At this shoulder line, you know, this is where we start our measurement. I'm going to come down with 1 inch or 1 inch and quarter. You can come down with 1 inch or 1 inch and quarter. Then you are going to connect from here. See where I connect from there. I don't know what happened to my marker. This marker wants to disgrace me. So just mark it the way I mark it. Then you are going to now mark your neck depth. But before that, before you mark your neck depth, from this place, you know, we come down with 1 inch and quarter. Then I go in again with 1/2 inch. So just watch how I'm going to do it. Then I'm going to mark from my neck depth where I want the neck to reach. I will mark it to this 1/2 inch that I just mark out, depending on how wide you want your neck. If you want it the way my own is, then you can just make do with this tutorial, or you do little alteration. Can you see that? So this is what I have right now. So this is what I have right now. The next thing I'm going to do now is to start cutting it out. But before I start to cut it out, before you start to cut it out, you know, we have not cut the back piece. We have not cut the back piece. You have to measure. So this is it. I'm just cutting it out. I'm still going to show you something. So just like I said, Now this is what I'm saying. Before you cut it out, you are going to measure your shoulder. So my shoulder now, it give me 6 inch for the shoulder. I mark it from the shoulder slope. Can you see? From the shoulder slope, you're going to mark it like this. Let me explain this place carefully. Mark it like this. Then we are coming to this area. Can you see? I have 6 inch. So by the time you are done with the back neckline, it must give you 6 inch, so that by the time you want to join your shoulder, everything will be perfect. Are you getting it? So that is that about that. The next thing we are going to do now is to start cutting it out. So take your time, watch how I'm cutting it step by step, so that by the time you want to cut your own, you will not do any mistake. I believe when you try it at once, you are going to get it. You are going to make something beautiful. So just see the way I'm cutting it. Step by step. So after we are done cutting the front piece, we are going to go ahead and cut the back and draft out our back piece. Then we are going to cut it out. So peradventure, this tutorial is going to be, and this down part, let me explain this down part. I forget to shock it to down. So you are going to make sure that the down part also touch the new 2 inch that we add. So maybe the tutorial is going to have, the cutting tutorial is going to have part 2, because I don't want to fast anything on this tutorial. I want it to be step by step guide. Like, I want it to be so detailed, so that you'll be able to understand it one after the other. So I'm just trying to cut it out. I don't want to fast forward the cutting, so that by the time you want to cut your own, you will not do mistake. That's why I don't want to forward the cutting. If you are a beginner and you have difficulty in cutting your princess bustier, this tutorial is for you. If you have difficulty in cutting your princess bustier, this tutorial is for you. This tutorial is for you. So this is it after cutting it out. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut it out on the main fabric. So I'm going to place it one after the other on the main fabric, then I'm going to cut it out. So let's quickly do that, then I'll continue in the part 2 of the cutting, because in the part 2 of the cutting I'll be showing how I cut the back and stuff like that. So let's quickly cut the front piece out on the fabric right now. Like I was saying, I'm going to start cutting them one after the other on the fabric. Hello guys, so after I'm done cutting the Ankara on the paper with the paper, the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut it with stay, because I'm going to be using full stay on this dress. This is not the original stay. This is paper stay. Like, this is BF. So I'm going to make sure that I cut it with this ST, because I'm going to be adding this ST on everything. So guys, that's how I'm going to do it. So I'll be showing you how I'm going to cut the back piece in the cutting tutorial. See you guys. God bless you. Bye. So guys, can you see our beautiful princess bustier top? Our beautiful bustier top. To tell you the truth, it was so easy to sew. It's not, there's